Hello everyone, my name is Isabella Bianca Rieno and I'm a STEM ambassador for the West Tennessee STEM Hub. In this video, we are covering Activity 1, Turning Thermal Tides from this book, Physics Quest 2019. So let's now go over some vocabulary terms. Conduction is the transfer of heat energy through contact. Convection is... So let's now go over some vocabulary terms. Conduction is the transfer of heat energy through contact. Convection is the transfer of heat energy through currents such as a liquid or a gas. Density is the mass of a substance per unit volume. Molecules are the smallest particles of a substance that retains all the properties of the substance and is composed of one or more atoms. Thermal energy is energy in the form of heat. And thermal equilibrium is a state of a system in which all parts are at the same temperature. So water, also known as H2O, is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. When water is hot, the molecules move quickly. Hot water will have a density of less than 1 gram per milliliter. When water is cold, the molecules move very slow. Cold water will have a density greater than 1 gram per milliliter. When water is at room temperature, the density is at 1 gram per milliliter. When substances have different densities, they will settle and move within a container based on their relative densities. Less dense substances will rise and more dense ones will sink. This happens when liquids, solids, and gases interact. Eventually, the water in both bottles will mix together to reach thermal equilibrium. And you will see this when we now perform the experiment. All right, now that we went over the concepts and the vocabulary, let's go ahead and get started. So these are your materials. You will need 2 20-ounce bottles, a clay, 4 dye tablets, a plastic tube, and then hot water and cold water. The very first step is to fill up the first 20-ounce bottle 2/3 of the way with very hot water. Make sure you are very careful because it could be very hot. I just warmed up this water in the microwave for 1 minute. And then fill up the second 20-ounce bottle 2/3 of the way with very cold water. The second step is to put 2 different colored dye tablets into the hot water and the very cold water. So I'll make purple really hot and blue very cold. The third step is to place one end of the clear plastic tube into one of the bottles. The middle of the tube should be at the top of the bottle. The third step is to place one end of the clear plastic tube into one of the bottles. Make sure the middle of the tube is on top and make sure it doesn't fall in. The fourth step is to use the clay to secure the tube and seal the gap between the opening of the bottle and the sides of the tube. After securing the clay on the tube, the fifth step is to put the bottles together, the tips, and make sure that the waters do not mix. So this is how it should look after connecting the tips together. Hot water of one color should be on this side, and the cold water should be on this side. So after a couple of minutes of observation, what do you see? What has changed? We will now carefully turn the bottles over so that the hot water is on top of the cold water. We will watch for 2 minutes and then record everything that is happening.
the hot water, I just dropped it in. Here's the cold water. Place one and two. It should be at the middle top of the bottle. Then it says use the clay to secure. Next step might be difficult. Take a baking sheet, bucket, or anything. So now I gotta mix this into here.
You need to put the other tablet. Oh, is that the other tablet already in there?
Yeah, yellow one.
Oh, okay, I didn't see it.
So now I gotta sort of.
Yeah, make sure it doesn't mix up.
You should make sure it doesn't mix up.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
Might be a little bit tricky.
And then I take the clay. Bring this other bottle. Alrighty.
Are you recording?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Well, so it's sort of like this the hot water stayed blue, and then the cold water the hot water had to get over here to make it sort of like a greenish color. Here's the blue. Alright, so now I'm about to flip it, and this is the cold on top of the hot. It seemed like the color still stayed the same, and then the cold water staying at the top.